does anybody have anything? Jacqueline, I think you said you might have something that I said. I want to like do some teaching here. Anything that you were able to do this week? So Jacqueline said that she had a couple of clients that she, I don't know. Tell me what you did.
So I was looking at, because we're starting to see fewer concessions from sellers, and we've got buyers who really want those 2-1 buy downs. So I've started just reframing those conversations, since we really shouldn't be doing those from a compliance perspective. And what I did is I ran through numbers with the client. I took, because I basically just explained exactly what this is. It's like why you shouldn't pay this upfront if it's your own money, and walked them through front loading the interest and all that stuff. And I was like, take that same money, throw it into a high yield savings account. I'm giving them examples of like 4 or 5 different high yield savings accounts that exist. And it's like, put the money in there and then just set up an auto transfer out of that account every month, that like you pay the full payment and then you pay yourself that money out of that other account that you're not seeing. And that way, if you need that cash at some point, if something's going on, you have access to it right away instead of the bank having it, and then you're earning interest on it as well. And so once I explain that, I did on a client who we've locked in, but then I've also explained it to like 3 or 4 clients, and they're like, oh yeah, that makes way more sense. Let's do that instead. So we were able to kind of navigate around that. And then another one, I've had some clients who have access to CHFA down payment assistance and have basically, they have the funds available to take care of the down payment. They're just wanting to use the down payment assistance to beef up that number. And we can actually get them a much better rate with the same cost on a more traditional loan. So been able to kind of circumvent that. It's like, yeah, the payment's a little bit higher because it's a higher loan balance, but you have a higher loan balance. It's just, I've artificially made part of it just kind of disappear for you in the short term until you go to refinance or sell the property. So just having better financial conversations with clients so that they understand better what exactly they're getting into if they don't actually need the down payment assistance.
I have a question.
Does anybody have
any
questions? Yeah, go ahead.
Are you saying you're framing that 2-1 buy down conversation if the buyer themselves was wanting to pay for it, or rather than using a seller concession?
No, so like if we don't get a seller concession, instead of them funding it, I just reframe it and I was like, you can fund it, but let's fund it in a different way. Let's not build it into the loan.
Yeah.
Let's just let the loan be what it is. And then let's structure it in a different way so that you're earning that interest instead of the bank getting it. Because then whoever we're locking with is taking the interest on that money.
Smart.
Great point.
Well, and plus, if you think about it, they're just putting that money into an escrow account and then taking from that money to pay down. Like it's going out of one pocket and another. So like,
yeah,
it doesn't make it.
Yeah.
It's only
It's funny
because it's free, but other than that, you shouldn't ever do that.
yeah. When clients ask to do that, they fund their own 2-1 buy down. I'm like, why would you give the bank $10,000 on day one so they can slowly give it back to you over the next 2 years?
That's
Keep
a great point.
Earn some
It only
money
made sense on like the reusing it on a refinance, but we can't do that anymore. Right, Dave? Still?
Hopefully,
Right.
eventually.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe eventually. We'll see.
Put it in the
But
prepaid
think about what this is, though, guys. I mean, I think, Jacqueline, you have hit something that's, I think a lot of times in this business, we do what's easy and convenient, but maybe not the best thing for the client, not because we're lazy, but because it's easier. And it takes more effort to explain complicated financial things to consumers. But if it's in their best interest and then they make the decision, that's fine. But if we don't give them all of that advice, we're not doing our job, in my opinion. We're just not doing our job. We're not earning our commission. And if what we really think that we want to do is help people, if we really want to help people instead of just doing what's easy to help ourselves, then I don't know. I fear for the future of the industry if that's really the case. But if what you really want to do is make sure that you're giving your clients the best possible financial advice, then they should know how to do these strategies. And you should know how to be able to explain it to them. I think it's important.
Well, I think
really
we do
important.
that. I think you mean like the industry as a whole. I think everyone here does that.
Yeah.
Back to my example,
right.
that my client didn't want to pay points and he thought he was getting 6.3. This is like the third time I've seen this in like 3 weeks, where client just literally thinks they're getting a really good rate, and then I'm like, well, send the loan estimate or send me something, they send it, and he's like, oh, it has points on it. So he called Brent Ivinson, and the guy's like, oh, yeah, that's just how we do things. You mean like don't disclose that you're charging your client points until you send the loan estimate and hope they like don't notice? Like,
Yeah.
it's that
Yeah.
bad. I feel like it's like it's easy because lenders are just being lazy, like Dave said. It's terrible.
It's not laziness. No, it's not. No, it's greed.
Well,
It's not laziness. It's greed. It's greed. Call it what it is. It's just greed. And there's so much greed in this industry. And this industry, it's because, you know, you get paid a lot of money to do this, and that's great. But I think people sometimes can get lost in their journey in life. And at some point, you know, you're going to wake up and you're going to look in the mirror and like going, do I like who I am? I think that's probably a real thing for everybody. At some point, you're going to ask yourself if you like the person that you became. So I know Brent, and from the CMLA, I know Brent. You would think that you're sitting across from a guy who is like one of the most upstanding, decent people on the planet. And to hear that story is like, oh no, that's just how we do it. It's like, dude, come on. You've been doing this for a long time. You know better. That's creepy. That creeps me out that he's like that.
Yeah, and then another point on that, another client that I had that experienced that decided not to go through with the refinance when I told him it was like 15 grand. She was like, yeah, I realized it sounds like people. She made it sound like our society is dumbed down. Basically, is what she told me, and she just thinks people just aren't gonna look. Like, remember my Rocket Mortgage guy a couple weeks ago? Same thing. I didn't win the deal, but because he was too late in the process. But he thought he was getting a $6,000 lender credit. He was paying, you know, 12,000 in points. Like, he didn't even know. So like, I think lenders are just taking advantage of people and just hoping they don't even look at the loan estimate and go through the e-sign process.
Well, that's your message, guys. That's your message. That is your message. The message is you should become an evangelist to what's going to happen, because with the Rocket Mr. Cooper thing and the Rocket Redfin thing, watch Ryan Hills. If you don't subscribe to Ryan Hills' videos, you should check him out. Go to Facebook and look him up, or YouTube. He shot one this past week about, I don't even think he brought up the Mr. Cooper thing, because when he shot it, the Mr. Cooper thing hadn't been talked about, but he talked about the Redfin move and how Redfin came into this industry as a big disruptor and could never make money. They were never profitable. They were never profitable the whole time they were in business. And because they were using technology and they were going to disrupt it and discounted commissions and everything else. 2 + 2 is 4. It's not 5. And profit is not bad. Profit is necessary if you want to stay in business. And so, but the Mr. Cooper Rocket thing is going to be, in my opinion, unless they do something that I'm not aware of. I do think that this is such a complicated transaction and done so infrequently that consumers are ripe to be taken advantage of. That should be your message. You don't do this very often. It's very easy for people to get taken advantage of by people in this industry. I will educate you as to exactly how this works so that you can make the best financial decision. I won't be telling you that you're getting a rate without discount points if you're going to pay them. I'm going to educate you how they work so that you can decide whether or not it makes sense. But almost it's across the board now. The game that these marketers are playing is very deceptive. So they're just showing the rate, and then they're talking about, they don't even care. They're blatantly telling you, like, yeah, it's $16,000 in points, but they know the consumer is going to focus on the rate. Because that's what the consumer thinks about, right? You got to be the ones who's educating them outside of that. And there's a huge opportunity there. I really do think so. There's a huge opportunity for you to really, because that's going to be how you combat what Rocket's going to attempt to do, which is, what I think is going to happen is every Mr. Cooper loan Rocket has is the same thing that happens if you ever try to get a loan at Rocket. And it's like what's happening with me when I tried to apply for that loan, when I fake applied for that loan with Better, is that I just constantly keep getting these emails every day they're sending me educational emails, but every day I get an interest rate. Here's your rate today email with $15,000, $16,000, $17,000 in points at 5.5. And it's or 5 5/8 or 5 3/4. It just depends on the day and the market. But and the consumer is susceptible to that. They're doing it because it works. And so you've got to be the one who tells that story to your customers. You got to be the one telling that story online. You got to become the evangelist. This is the message to your real estate agents too, is that you will educate your client. They're going to want that. Real estate agents don't know how this works either, guys. They just don't. I've never worked with realtors. Very few realtors understand the mortgage business and they understand how mortgages work. What they understand is the client needs a mortgage and I just need it to close. Is it going to close? That's what they need. So anyway, I'll get off my soapbox. I went to the Scotsman's Guide. Good job again to the four that made it this year: Ryan, Jack, Chris, Giuseppe. I went to the Colorado. I was able to download the Colorado list. I'll show it to you here. Wasn't able to download it. I was able to copy and paste it into.
Search by it, no? By state.
I was just able to grab the Colorado list, which is what I wanted. I wanted to see how many people were on the list from Colorado. So this is the whole list. You guys seeing this? Yes?
Yes.
Okay. So there's 150. I just was highlighting all the people who I know. I'm starting to send text messages to everybody. This is how much volume is on that list. 7.3 billion. Of 157 people, there's 157 loan officers on the list, 7.3 billion in production, 16,627 transactions. As a company, Zenith did 236 million, which is 3% of the 7.3 billion. 463 loans, also 3% of the 16,627 transactions. In Big Purple Dot, I found that there were $44 billion in loans done in Colorado by 7,200 loan officers. I do not know if that's accurate. I'm being honest, but my Big Purple Dot that I use for recruiting, I can get data on states, different states, and where's the volume. This is going to include like Pulte, which is doing loans all over the country, but Pulte is located in Colorado, so it's not necessarily loans that close in Colorado. So just to give you some flavor for it, but there was $44 billion in loans closed in Colorado. We closed 237 million, just under, which is 0.5%. There's 7,200 loan officers. 7,200 loan officers did 44 billion. What I'm trying to get across to you is like there's so much potential. This is only 157 of the best loan officers, supposedly the ones who bothered to report. And I'm excited about when I see that. That excites me, and that should excite you. Because it's like, oh shit, that's all like, how many loans did I do? And there's 16,000 loans done in that list. Like, oh man, there's more opportunity than I thought. There's a lot of loans. That's the thing that should excite you and get you excited about making the call and getting in front of as many people as possible. Because at the end of the day, those loans are going to be done, whether you do them or not. That's the cool part about this business is you don't have to talk somebody into doing something they weren't going to do. People are going to do this anyway. Your job is to get in front of them. That's all it is your job is to get in front of them and get in front of the people that can refer you to them, because they're going to do the loans anyway. And when I see 16, 17,000 loans, I'm like, dude, that's awesome. I'm going to go find some more, right? That's exciting. So I just wanted to share that. Anybody have any feedback? Let's go get some loans, people. I'm following the conversation from my phone. Oh, okay, thanks, Mary Jo. We're gonna leave. Does anybody have anything else? Because we can wrap it up today. Mike's in the Bahamas. That's why Stoddard's not on the call.
I guess I have a
Nicole,
comment. Sorry.
go ahead.
Mr. Cooper, should we just not be locking in with them? I don't know.
mean, no, dude, if you think about it, Rocket Mortgage has already bought in a lot of servicing. So a lot of our clients are already serviced by Rocket, right? So like that's, that happened when we were at VIP, right? Like they were buying a shite load of our clients' servicings.
Yeah.
So
Just
a
get
ton
the
of them
best
already.
rates for them.
Yeah.
Okay.
I
UWM,
wouldn't-
they'll get this. So you guys will laugh at this. I have a broker buddy. UWM did 100 basis point incentive for refinancing any Mr. Cooper loan.
Yeah, they hate each other. The
They
owners
just, like,
hate each other. This is going to be great.
battling
'Cause
each
They're just
other.
going to put each other out of business, hopefully.
They're like ops
Rocket
and
Mortgage is a good
sales,
place to do
man.
it.
we need
They're
this
like
done
offers
for the Cavs. the Suns versus the Cavs in the NBA too. That'd be pretty funny.
It's so good.
I think a
Um,
good way to save like a client's with Rocket, you can like shopping with them or something. You can show them like, yeah, how do you think they're paying for this $9.5 billion transaction? They're charging you 15,000 in points. That's how they're paying. That's how they're doing this. Like,
I Googled their rates this morning,
they're terrible.
6.99 with 2.25 in points.
good.
Yeah.
It's good rate.
I mean, that's what I show clients, but then if a client actually goes and calls them, their rates are competitive. I don't know. I don't know why they have such a out
at
of
the
touch
advertised rate.
website, but it works for
I
me
know,
now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's funny.
It still comes down to, I believe this with all my heart. I was on a phone. Kevin McGovern turned 68 yesterday, Giuseppe. So I called him on his birthday. We were talking about the business in general and how with the advent of loan officer comp Dodd-Frank rules created this whole new paradigm in our industry, that because really everybody thought at the time that the price of loans was going to go down because of it. And the price of loans just went up. It just got more and more expensive to do loans. And it's resulted in an industry of this where price and points and everything, everybody talks about what's the price, and what's being missed, is what we were talking about today, is relationships matter. It's the end of the day, the relationship. I don't think you have a thing to worry about. We've been talking, how long have we been talking about this? Technology is going to take the place and everything else. What's your differentiator? You know, when Rocket Mortgage launched push button get mortgage, we're all freaking out about it, right? But at the end of the day, it still comes down to your relationship with your borrower and your relationship with your referral partners. Relationships. This is a relationship business until we make it a commodity business. And when it gets commoditized, then if you get commoditized, then now you have to be price based. And then the guy with the lowest price wins, but who has the lowest price? You never know, because nobody has the lowest price that they stick with, right? So it's just a funny, weird business, but it's still a great business, and you get a cool chance to help people do some amazing things in their life. So right on. Thanks, everybody. Have a great day. Enjoy your Thursday, and let's lock them if you got them.
Is anyone
Jay,
working on some refi locks?
What?
You are. Have you seen any pricing improvement? Because I got like 3 people that I've been looking at for the past week, and today's the same as it was a week ago. 7 par, 6.5 with a point, when we've gained 100 basis points. So I'm wondering if banks are just waiting till tomorrow to improve their rates, hopefully, unless we get a strong jobs report.
Yeah, the 10-year's down 15 basis points.
There's no way
Yeah.
The Challenger
They're
job
holding on
is
to
like the worst March of all time today. I mean, I don't know how we can keep getting good job reports with.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I priced one today that, like, just this morning, that I had priced out yesterday afternoon, was getting ready to lock, and it's the improvement is nowhere near what we're seeing on the charts right now.
Yeah, that's what I was.
Maybe
Maybe if it remains.
The industry
at this
always,
level.
the industry always reduces prices slower. They're fast to raise, slow to improve. Very fast to raise. If the market starts to get worse, they immediately reprice for the worst and overcorrect. And then when it's going down, this is what they always do. This is so volatile right now. This is so volatile because he could decide, could decide today, like, oh, okay, we're just going to do 15% tariffs. I mean, who knows? And then this reverses itself hard. I don't know. I think you're going to have to see it stay at this level for a minute before we start to see the improvements.
Yeah,
Significant
so today,
improvements.
Start researching the loans you want to call tomorrow if we get a jobs report, and start prepping it as much as possible. And
I'd start today. Start calling.
yeah, start working on it today. I mean, like for me, again, the top 3 people that have the highest rates that I've been looking at, it's no better today than it was on Monday or last week. So I'm hoping that tomorrow it improves and we'll be ready to go. So today's prep work day.
Yeah, and Dave makes a good point. If people are like wavering like they were in September, like waiting for rates to go lower, And just be like, I don't know, they could change tomorrow. Trump decides to renege on all the tariffs he just did and rates are back up. So you should probably lock in today.
Well, and I think it's good to just reference like what happened in the fall, right? Like it's just easy just to talk to people about.
Show that chart.
Yeah,
Yeah.
8 days. 8 days.
Yeah.
in
Well, and
September.
Barry has that cool cost of waiting on refi thing. Have you checked that? It's pretty good to get people not to wait. So
A great point. I would get a screenshot of those days and just go, here's what happened in September and October. It just reversed itself. So we don't know. We don't know. I think if it stays here, if we see this is where things stay, you can start to see some improvement over the next few days. A lot of it's going to depend on the rhetoric out of Washington. So weird times, but could be great.
Great times, Dave. Not weird times. Great times.
Great times.
Let's go. Let's go. Let's start ringing that
Unbelievable
bell
times.
again. You know what I'm saying? Come on.
Have fun.
Cowbell. I want G going over there and scaring the operations department 10 locks in a day again.
Does anyone ring that bell anymore?
No, I'm going to start though. I'm back. I'm bringing that thing back.
Come on, dude. Have a great day, guys.
Let's go.
Thanks.
Yeah.
All right. See you later.